Howdy, shipmates. Welcome back to the channel. It's me again. My name is Patrick Goodman. For those of you just joining us, uh, welcome aboard. If this is your first time visiting the channel, welcome back. Sorry about that. Welcome back. If it is not your first time, always happy to have return customers. Before we get too far, we're sitting at about 430 subscribers. My goal is 500 at this point. So if you haven't already subscribed, and I know about 72% of you haven't, because I finally got around to reading some of my YouTube metrics, and it says most of you aren't subscribed. But I'm a freelance writer. I work in the RPG industry. Most of what I do these days is for Star Trek adventures. I am in the process of trying to expand that repertoire. It gets a little dicey sometimes because of health issues, but we do what we can. But this channel is mostly RPG related and primarily Star Trek adventures. Tonight, not going to be any different. Tonight, we're going to use the Species Sourcebook that went into pre-order a couple of months ago. I'll link my review over here. Is where those go. You'd think I'd be used to this by now. But we're going to create a species, test out those rules in the Species Sourcebook. We're going to do the Cheronians because they're making something of a comeback. We thought they were extinct, but it turns out we were wrong. And I'm okay with this. Before we get any further, before I really get started on this, do all the YouTube things. Like, subscribe, ask questions in the comments if you have any. Tell your friends, show them this channel, convince them to come over. All of you, subscribe, please. I'd like to get that percentage down. Anyway, we are going to get into the Species Sourcebook now. The species creation rules start on page 130. And it's a very, very simple build. Step one, the concept. If we were creating an original species, this would be a little more complex, but we are adapting a species from the original series who has since shown up in the Section 31 movie and a couple of times in the background on Starfleet Academy. The Cheronians, black on one side, white on the other. That could be crucial to them. So that is our concept right there, which, seems easy enough. I'm gonna quit fidgeting. Now, as it happens, I have already typed a lot of this stuff out, but we are going to build the character sheet, not the character sheet, the species write-up right here, right now. So let's get into this. First, obviously, we need to put the species name up there. Cheronians. And since we've already established our concept, that's going to be the lore bit that fits in the beginning here. Let me do a quick copy and paste into my publisher window here. I do this in Microsoft Publisher right now. Unfortunately, I think it's going away. I've been using this for years, and now I've got to learn a new program. Fortunately, there's some free or cheap ones out there, so I'm not particularly worried. It's just the learning curve that bothers me Make sure, yeah, okay, there we go. Just want to make sure my formatting followed me over. Now, some of our example characters, and fortunately, there have only been 3 that have been given names, so this is actually going to be pretty easy. Do, 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 do. And Virgil. That's not strictly in the character creation rules, but it seemed like a good idea to put it there. So let's get back into the aforementioned character creation rules. Now that we've got our lore there, and let's see what step 2 of this is. Step 2, attributes. Well, that seems simple enough. All right. So attributes +1 to 3 attributes. So they demonstrated remarkable self-control and the ability to control ships, which we'll get to that momentarily. But so control seems an obvious choice. Dr. McCoy was talking about what great physical specimens they were. So +1 fitness also seems appropriate. And in the original series episode, Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, where these fellas showed up, both Beale and Loki showed remarkable strength of personality. So I think a +1 presence is appropriate here. And so back into the rules where we get to step 3, the species trait. Now, again, I've kind of written this up, so let me cut and paste that in there, and I'll read that out. We'll discuss that. As I said, I do this in Microsoft Publisher. Some people have asked me in the past if I can give out my templates and stuff, and yeah, I'd be happy to. Just drop me an email, or hit me up in private messages on the Modiphius Discord or on the Facebook group. So let's paste that in there. All right. Now, what I've written here, in case you can't read it, while very similar to humans in outward anatomy, the Cheronian people are notable for the unique dichromatic coloration of their skin. The majority of the population were black on the right side of their bodies and white on the left side, while a notable minority had these colors reversed. They were extremely long-lived, and their internal physiology was significantly different from humans. So there is that. Move this up a little bit here. And back into the rules. We go to Step 4, the species ability. I played around with this for a long time. I've been bouncing ideas back and forth in my head for a while, and it suddenly occurred to me that, you know, we're highlighting the rules here. So let's use one of these pre-made species abilities that Nathan Dowdle, and Nathan, I hope I pronounced your name right. I'm sorry. Let me know if I messed up and I'll fix it later. But some of these that Nathan came up with, and I happened across the intense willpower. Um, and Beale in Last Battlefield is always going on and on and on about his will. So I figured that that might not be a bad thing to use as a species ability. But just to be contrary, I am probably going to change the name of it. So let's call this something besides intense willpower, just to satisfy my contrary nature. We'll call it adamant will. Dun dun dun. And there is that. And back we go into the creation rules. All right, species talents. Played around with these for a while too, but came up with a couple of them. One of them is the first talent, therefore, I called it a psychokinetic shield. And obviously, its requirement is to be a Cheronian or get your GM's approval, because, you know, that's also a cool thing to have happen. All right, there is that. And the second talent, not 100% sure about the name on this one, but it gets the point across, though not my typing skills. Boom, 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 boom. And there's going to be a whole lot of empty white space on this. I am going to have to get some more photos or something. You know, it helps, Patrick, if you actually copy and paste the right thing, which is not what you did there. Hold on just a second, guys. Sorry I had that bonehead moment, but Yeah. Gonna have to come up with something to fill some of this space because that's just too much white space. All right, let's see what else we've got here. Back into the rules. Species naming conventions. And that's the end of the rules right there. We don't know anything about their naming conventions because we only saw them the one time. So we're just going to kind of make that up. In a time-honored gaming tradition. All right, let's get into this here. Little is known of the naming conventions used by the Cheronians. A few members of this species who have been encountered used a single name. How they noted family lines, if they did bothered to do so at all, is unknown. So we're going to get rid of these three entries here because they really don't apply. No, I changed my mind. We're going to just stick with masculine names since which is kind of a cop-out, but I may change that before I send this sheet off to Michael Dismuke and continuing mission. For the moment, I'm just going to live through, and that's the end of the actual creation rules. Now we just got to fill in a couple of other blanks. It's the simplest thing in the world to do this. But we do need to fill in a couple of more blanks because we didn't have any sample values or anything like that, and I've got some of that written up already. And we will get those put in there right now. Yeah, there we go. Some of these values are positive, some of them not so much, in keeping with the nature of Beal and Lokai's relationship, is shown in Last Battlefield. But a couple of them I'm hoping are a little more positive, to show that some of the survivors may have learned a few lessons from the bad things that have happened on their homeworld. Not the least of which, of course, is their civilization being destroyed and most of the species being thought extinct. All right, so now, as much as I love Sadiq El Fadil, he's not Cheronian, so let's get rid of this picture here. We are going to delete the object, and we are going to place a different picture. And that's it. That's all there is to it. I will get the species write-up cleaned up, and hopefully by the time this video drops, it will be up on continuing mission. If not, it should be there soon. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you saw how easy it is to overcome the lack of a species in Star Trek Adventures. So I'm going to shut this down now. Thank you so much again. As I say all the time, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it very much. Please, as I said, do all the YouTube things. Let's see if I can't get up to 500. Be kind of a party there. I have no idea what I'll do when I hit 500. You can leave a comment about what you'd like down below. And I'd like to thank, as I always do, my patrons on my Patreon. They keep my caffeine flowing, and Lord knows I need it sometimes. I appreciate you coming by. I hope you'll come back for the next one. In the meantime, friends, live long and prosper, and I will see you in the next one.